What's up, Tailgaters? You're in the booth with Tailgate Nate today. Welcome to my channel. We're going to the ACC as Week 12 preview and predictions continue. There can be more chaos that happens in the race for the college football playoffs here this week. Washington, Oregon State, one of those games. I've already predicted that one. This could be another one where we could see a college football playoff contender go down, and it would ruin the hopes of the Louisville Cardinals if they drop this game. However, the Miami Hurricanes, it would only raise their spirits, and pulling off the upset here is very much within reach. We'll take you to everything and talk about the matchup in Miami Gardens in Hard Rock Stadium in just a little bit. But before we dive into it, you guys know I got to say thank you for all the support the channel has seen as of late. It does mean a lot to me. And if you want to continue to help show your support for the channel, really anything you do to interact with the channel helps to support it. That includes hitting the subscribe button, ringing the bell. Biggest way to help support me. Another huge way is just by watching these videos. A lot of people don't realize that, but you can do more. Liking, commenting, sharing. It all helps me support what I do here on YouTube. So I'm very grateful for whatever you guys may be willing and or able to do. But that is enough about me. Let's go ahead and dive on into Week 12 preview and predictions. We're previewing this one between the Louisville Cardinals and the Miami Hurricanes. Starting off with the stats that both these teams have put up so far this season. We will be starting with the road team as per usual, that being the Louisville Cardinals. Very balanced attack offensively for this team. Now, there are some troubles with this team, and that being the offensive line can be inconsistent, and they have allowed Jack Plummer to be sacked a total of 20 times, and Jack Plummer also does have a tendency to throw picks, does have 9 interceptions this year. Louisville doesn't really fumble the football a whole lot, only 3 lost fumbles this year, but the 9 interceptions have really been a big factor here into some of the games that Louisville has played pretty closely over the past couple of weeks, and they're coming off a very bad defensive performance, but I'll talk about that when we get to the defense. Right now, their offense, they were able to come back. The offense has done everything they need to do to be able to win games. I mentioned Jack Plummer earlier. Here is his stat line: 2,402 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 9 picks. Again, he has been sacked 20 times, but the focus of this offense has been some of the playmakers on the outside. Yes, Jack Plummer is doing what he needs to do for the most part, be able to get it to the weapons, and he has some really good ones, most notably Jamari Thrash on the outside at wide receiver, and then in the backfield in Jawar Jordan, and then Isaac Garendo has had a couple huge runs here as well. So a really, really good staple of playmakers for this Louisville Cardinal team. But again, there are things that you really don't want to see out of this Cardinal offense. For one, they are not the best on third downs. For two, Jack Plummer definitely throws a little bit too many interceptions, and the offensive line is very much so inconsistent. You take a look at that first half of that first column of offensive stats, looks pretty good, looks really good actually. That second column, not so much. You got to step that second column up, and you can't really get off to some of the starts that you've gotten out to against some of these lesser opponents in weeks prior in this game against the Miami Hurricanes, because the Hurricanes will make you pay. We'll talk about how in a second. But defensively, look, for the most part, this is a Cardinal defense that has performed really, really well. You take a look at the statistics there. A lot of them are phenomenal. 300 yards per game allowed. That's it. Under 100 yards per game allowed on the ground. They've been a really good rush defense this year. They've been a really good defensive front all year. The pass rush that was FBS best last year wasn't really all there at the beginning of the season. It's really started to find its stride. It started to come along, and the defense is doing everything it needs to do and more to help the Cardinals pull out games. It's forcing turnovers. It's one of the best. It has one of the best third down marks in the entire country as well. This is a Louisville defense that is consistently doing its job. However, it didn't consistently do its job last week. There were some really good moments from this Cardinal defense, but it probably had its worst performance of the season against not a very good team at all in the Virginia Cavaliers. You're going to need that defense to step up here big in this game. Now, albeit Miami, does their offense have problems? Oh yeah, especially turning the football over. This is the team that is combined for 13 interceptions, 12 of them belonging to Tyler Van Dyke, only one of them going to Emory Williams, but then as well 7 fumbles for this team, and that has to get flipped around really, really quickly. And you cannot turn the football over to this Louisville team. The defense is good enough to, even if you don't think you're making a mistake, the defense will force a turnover instead of just generate a takeaway and make you pay for a mistake that you made. Louisville's defense is good enough to be able to force the plays, be able to force the takeaways. Their defense really is that good. However, Miami does have a lot of playmakers offensively. So it starts with the quarterback position, Tyler Van Dyke or Emory Williams, whoever is able to get the start. I believe it's going to end up being Tyler Van Dyke that gets the start here in this game, and he's going to need to play a lot better than he has throughout most of this season. Emory Williams, if he gets playing time, we'll see what he's able to do. They do have a lot of weapons. Henry Parrish, Donald Chaney, Mark Fletcher, A.J. Allen, in the backfield. A lot of good wide receivers out there. Jacoby George, Xavier Restrepo, Colby Young, Brashard Smith. Even a guy who doesn't have that many catches there, and Isaiah Horton can be a pretty big play threat as well. So this is a Miami team that offensively has talent, offensively has playmakers. However, the quarterback play has not really been where it needs to be. If the quarterback play can be where it needs to be, you can make this Louisville defense pay, but it also starts with not turning the football over, and I'm going to talk a lot more about that in a minute. Don't you worry. Defensively, well, hey, their defense, for the most part this year, has done what they need to do to be able to win games. It's been that offensive inconsistency that has really plagued this Miami Hurricanes team. 312 yards per game allowed. That's a pretty good stat. They actually have more sacks than the Louisville Cardinals this year. 33 sacks so far on the season for the Hurricanes. That is a really good number to have right there. 15 turnovers. You're being able to force turnovers. And that third down number, while it may not be one of the best marks in the country, when you take a look at what comparatively to what the Louisville Cardinals are putting up, 35%, that's a pretty good number to be holding defenses to. Only 35% third down conversions. That means more often than not, you're holding them to a third down stop, which is going to be really important, especially when you consider that the Louisville Cardinals offense is only converting third downs at around a 36% clip. So just slightly above what the Miami defense does allow. But let's dive on into your what to watch for, your keys to the game. It's some things I think you should keep an eye on while you're paying attention to this one. And let's start with the 10th ranked Cardinals. Plummer is going to need to be leaned on more here in this game, I feel. I feel like they're going to need to have Jack Plummer to be a little bit more involved in this game. I just feel like Jack Plummer is going to need to be a guy who's going to be able to get the ball out to Jamari Thrashmore. He's going to need to get the ball out to Bell, Higgins, Bruce, Coleman. He's going to need to find guys on the outside to be able to have this Miami secondary beat, because I think it could be a tough day for Jawar Jordan, for Isaac Arendo, and for this rushing attack as a whole. Now, are they going to have their moments? Yes, this is a Louisville rushing attack that in pretty much every single game, they have had at least one or two really big runs that have really started to spark this offense. So while I don't think that is going to go away, the overall production from this rushing attack definitely could see a little bit of a diminishing role, considering how good Miami's defensive front has been all season long. So it could be a really tough day for Jordan, which is why I think Jack Plummer is going to need to be leaned on a little bit more, and it just rings especially true for him to be able to limit his interception numbers. Now, he's been able to do it over the past couple of games, hasn't really had his best games. Again, you really go from that pit loss on. Louisville has just been a team that's sort of struggled. They haven't really been able to play their best football, so Jack Plummer going to need to clean that up. But these Cardinals have struggled against lesser teams. I've mentioned that all video long. They can't do it here, and I'm not even considering Miami a lesser team. Yes, Louisville is sitting at 9-1. Miami is sitting at 6-4. That pretty much should tell you all you need to know. You may be thinking, but it isn't. Miami's got a lot of great talent. They can go out here and win this game. You'll even see in a second that Vegas does have them favored, but I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'll continue to hammer it home because it is so important. Limit the turnovers. You have 20 turnovers on the season. This is the Louisville defense that loves to force turnovers. You need to be efficient with the football, and you need to be smart. More so important in this game than any other game Miami has played this year, maybe apart from the game against the Florida State Seminoles. You need to limit the turnovers in this game. Tyler Van Dyke, Emory Williams, whoever's at quarterback, cannot be throwing picks. This is a running back stable wide receiver room that needs to be able to take care of the football, because I talked about it before. This Louisville defense is good enough to, yes, make you capitalize, or I guess, yes, capitalize off of your mistakes and force turnovers that way, but they're also good enough at forcing turnovers to be able to force a turnover when you didn't even expect one to happen. When you think you're making a smart play, the ball is going the other way very suddenly. You have to be efficient with the football in this game, which means that Van Dyke, Emory Williams, whoever happens to get the starting job, yes, is going to have to be really, really efficient. I can't hammer that point home enough. However, they're also going to have to be really, really sharp. They're going to have to make some great decisions, and they're possibly going to have to make a play or two that doesn't really have a high percent chance of being complete. You're probably going to have to force some throws into some tight windows. It's just because of the nature of what this Louisville defense plays with. Yes, you have to be efficient. Yes, you have to be smart, but you may also have to go out and make some risky plays as well and have them be able to pay off. That's the great thing about the game of football. Sometimes you're going to have to make the risky plays, and they're going to have to go lean in your favor. But I am leaning Miami in this game, and the one reason is even though the offense has been inconsistent, even though the offense has had its turnover problems and it's really struggled at times, the Hurricane defense hasn't. It's done what it's need to do for the most part, maybe apart from a couple performances that secondary has had. It's done what it needs to do to be able to help Miami win games. And the offense just simply has to be good enough here. Miami, as far as I'm recording this video right now, the line that I have has the Hurricanes favored by 1.5. I've seen Miami being favored by 1. I've seen 2. Kind of average it out there to be 1.5. And the FPI even likes the Hurricanes to win this game. Spoiler alert, I've already predicted one upset already. You'll have to go back and watch my preview predictions this week to find out which one. I apparently am just loving chaos this week because I believe that the Hurricanes will pull the upset here, effectively eliminating Louisville from college football playoff contention. I do think the offense is going to take a step up. I think they're going to play well, and all the struggles that I've seen from Louisville over the past couple of weeks, I think will lead into this game. The Miami defense will generate some takeaways here, and the Hurricanes, maybe possibly on a game-winning field goal, will win this game in front of the home crowd in Hard Rock Stadium. I'm predicting the upset here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And hey, as always, remember to play hard but tailgate harder. I'll see all you guys in the next video. Goodbye.